Welcome to the Kingdom Business Breakthrough Podcast. We help entrepreneurs gain influence and favor by applying God's kingdom principles in their business and personal life. Welcome your host, Derek Ty.
Welcome back to another episode of the Kingdom Business Breakthrough Podcast. This is your host, Derek Ty, and today we're going to talk about goals. It is episode 24, and we are here in the new year. We all made it to 2021, and I'm just grateful. I'm thankful for all the podcast listeners we've had over the last year. I'm happy for my friends and family. And actually, we have a lot to be grateful for in 2020. I've heard a lot of people say, hey, we should just throw away 2020. Let's rush into 2021. But I think it's always important before we start a new year that we reflect back on the last year. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure there are a lot of things to be grateful for. In my life personally, no one in my direct family got sick last year. No one passed away in my immediate family. We had an amazing time spent when everyone was locking down for coronavirus. My immediate family, we were able to play some board games together, build puzzles. We actually took several family trips. One to see my sister get married in California. There was 7 of us. That was pretty awesome. And got to see a cool backyard wedding there in California, Southern California. We spent a few days on the beach in actual Newport Beach, which I've never been there before. It was awesome. We were literally right on the sand, right on the water, right on the boardwalk. Views, people watching. It's just a really cool scene out there. So thankful for that. We also got to take a trip to Michigan for a family camp. So our family went out there and spent a week at a church camp together, which was awesome, and made some fun family memories. We also got to go to Lake Michigan for the first time on the beach there, this little town, I forget the name, but that was pretty cool. We took a trip to, right in the middle of the pandemic, right as things were going nuts, we went down to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. We got to take a trip down there with the family and, go see some cool stuff and go to restaurants and things like that, which was pretty amazing. But overall, there are all kinds of other blessings. We bought another rental property this year. Our business stayed afloat. I know some people's didn't, and I'm sorry for that. Ours did pretty well this year. You can always do better, obviously, but I think I worked a lot less hours this year than I have in the past, and yet we still did pretty well. So again, as we're starting 2021, I think it's important to go back and reflect on all the blessings from the previous year. And, you also want to think about, kind of taking an inventory, what went well last year before you start making goals and setting goals for 2021. What did you do well last year? I think I rested a little bit more. I didn't get as anxious. I was, like I said, able to spend more time with my family, go on some trips. What could I do better from last year? Well, I know I probably took my foot off the gas pedal a little bit as I spent more and more time at home. It was easier to be distracted. I spent way too much time probably on Facebook and looking at cars online, which is one of my hobbies, and Instagram and all that kind of thing. So I know for 2021, I can do a lot better about that. Also, what could you do better in your, think about different areas of your life, personal, financial, relationships, health-wise. One of the things I know I can do better is I kind of let my diet and health regimens kind of relax, especially second half of the year. I just kind of, decided, hey, I'm going to not work out anymore. I used to do a lot more out in the barn and farm and cutting down trees and doing stuff like that to stay healthy. I kind of started slipping that way. And then I also found myself eating a lot more sugar and carbs than I've been used to doing, eating more fast food type foods, and definitely am going to cut that out for 2021. What things should you add from add to your life? So I know for me, adding things sometimes is a good thing, and sometimes adding things is a bad thing. So for me, actually, I was thinking about what should I be removing from my life. I know that time on social media is definitely what I'm going to remove, but also I've had several businesses over the years, and yesterday, I started thinking about specifically which business ventures should I shut down, which products aren't selling that well. So we actually have several ClickFunnels and some different products that my wife and I have built up over the last several years. And I kept thinking, now's the time for me to go in and actually, if it's not performing well, there's no 80-20 rule with business and life. And that is, if your 20% of your products are probably giving you 80% of your revenue, and that's the case in our lives. So I took a hard look at some different funnels and some different products that I am not promoting anymore, that really aren't adding a ton of value to other people. They're not getting purchased. So that was enabled me to actually delete my ClickFunnels account and move some things over to a partner that I use here to market my products. I could move some funnels over to his funnel system, and that'll save me $100 a month. So that's something you guys can talk about. So what we're going to do is kind of give you some goal setting ideas for 2021. So again, kind of looking back at 2020, what could I do better? What could I add? What can I delete from last year? The positives and negatives, kind of putting all that down and journaling it all together. What things should you start doing, stop doing? And I like this last question too before we get into goal setting for this year, and that is, who helped you last year and who do you need in your life this year? So one of the mentors that I've had over the years, she always said, when you have a problem or an opportunity, you need to be thinking in the terms of who, not in what. So as an entrepreneur, most of the times we live in this life where we have to do everything. We're independent people. We think, oh my gosh, I got to do this myself. And then you think, okay, how can I do it? What tools do I need? What actions can I take? What program can I buy? What book can I read? What podcast should I be listening to? This one's a good one, of course, but that's a whole nother topic. But basically, you start thinking of these other logistical questions. The big question you should be asking yourself when you start facing a new challenge or you want to get to a new goal is, who in my life do I need to be in there? Or who should I get out of my life? So let's start with the who should be out of my life. There are certain people that we all have as kind of like baggage or wet blankets in our life. They're always telling us we can't do something the way we wanted to do it. Maybe they're being negative. Maybe it's someone on Facebook that's always posting something crazy. Those are the kind of people you probably want to, distance from yourself if you're going to hit your goals. And then there are other people too that you need to add to your life. So you got to look at that circle of the 5 people that you spend the most time around and say, you know what, I think these people, are really indicative of where my life is, both emotionally, physically, financially. If you've got 5 CrossFit friends, you're probably going to look kind of like a CrossFit person, right? If you've got 5 people that are millionaires in your life that are your top 5, you're probably a millionaire. If you've got 5 real estate investor friends of yours that are in your life, you're probably into real estate. If your friends are into Bitcoin or stocks or whatever it is, I mean, this is kind of the way it is. If your friends focus on money all the time, then you're probably gonna be thinking money. If they're spiritually focused people thinking about God and their destiny and biblical truths and values, you're probably going to be thinking about those things too. So I don't want to beat this point up, but it's really, the universal truth from when your mom and dad probably told you as a kid, the kids you surround yourself with, that's who you're going to be like. Well, now you're an adult, you get to choose those people in your life. And so my encouragement to you is, who are you around? And maybe it's time to let one person exit your, world and another person enter, or you spend more time with people. How can you do that? Well, maybe it's inviting someone out to breakfast or lunch every week or two. Maybe it's just saying, hey, do you mind if I pick your brain? Do you mind if I call you sometime? Maybe it's just, a book or a podcast you need to start listening to, that are in line with your goals. So again, this is a big who question. Get people out of your life that are dragging you down, Now let me preface that too. There are times in life where we need to help someone out. We need to mentor somebody. We need to give them a helping hand. But that's not what I'm talking about here. This is the people that you're really getting most of your strength from and your kind of day-to-day interactions from, okay? So that we can delete people, we can add people. And then finally, the last piece of this goal setting is we have to start with the foundations of what's important to us. So if you got a blank piece of paper in front of you and you can use this as a goal setting exercise, I want you to think of the 5 key areas in your life that you can set goals around. And I'm going to go through mine with you just to give you a kind of an idea of how I did mine. And I've been keeping these, in a Evernote list for the last several years. And then throughout the year, I just tweak my goals. This is one thing, too, I'm going to talk to you about. And I've said this before on an old podcast a year or two ago. Your annualized goals don't have to be from January 1 to December 31st. And this is a problem a lot of people have is they set these big goals on January 1st. And by January 15th, they're like, crap, I'm not making these goals. And then they scrap them for the year. Don't think of it like that. Think of it like, hey, I got 12 months to do this. Whether you started on January 1st or February 1st or March 1st, I don't really care what the date is. I started goal setting back in December. And I was like, okay, in 12 months, I want this to happen. I wasn't going to wait till January 1. And then what I think is important is you can, keep making changes to those goals. Like you don't have to stick with the same goals for 5 years just because you set a 5-year goal. I think this should be, obviously you want to be convicted of what you want to do, but you want to make it so hard and fast that you can't change it, because things in life change. Maybe you had a goal of a relationship and then you get the relationship, and then you have a goal of getting to a certain net worth status. I'm going to be a net worth millionaire. Then you get there. Now you change your goal to be, okay, I want to be a multi-millionaire. I want to own 5 rental properties. Well, now I own 5 rental properties. I want to get to 10. Whatever that is, your goal should be updated and changed. You might decide too, you hate real estate. I thought I was going to be a real estate investor. I bought one home and the tenants are driving me crazy and the neighbors are driving me crazy. And, now I'm into Bitcoin or whatever it is. So you might want to change your goals that way too. And that's okay. So I just want to make sure you have permission to make those changes. It's your life. Don't worry about what other people are going to say about you. And if you're one of those people that are changing their goals every month and they're major changes, then maybe you want to kind of sit down with a coach or an advisor or somebody and kind of really figure out why you keep making those changes too. But so here are the 5 areas that we're going to go through. The first one, and these are in order of, in my opinion, of how you need to get your house in order, basically. So the first area is your spiritual goal. So we're going to go through a little bit of this. I'm going to go ahead and give you all 5 and then we'll come back to it. Okay, so the first one is spiritual goal for the year. My second one is my relationship goal. My third one is income goal. That's for my businesses or, my collective businesses. My fourth one is personal financial goal. That's like your net worth and kind of all the things going on in your life, debt, everything else. And finally, your wellness goal. Okay, so let's start with the first one here. And this is a very, very, very important one, is your spiritual goal. So if you go through, the New Testament and you look at what Jesus basically gave us as a directive, he basically said to be more like the Father, right? That was his number one goal, was he basically wanted to be showing people what the Father was like, and that's the Father God. So, and I've read this and seen this in multiple podcasts and other things, and the first goal in our life should be to be more like God, to be more like the Father. So I actually have 5 sub goals under each goal. So, and I read these out loud every workday. So, and I read them in a present tense, even though I have not achieved these goals yet. So this is kind of a big key too, is these positive affirmations. You can actually structure your goals, affirmations, prayers in an out loud statement, and they don't have to be where your current truth is today of where your life is. These are a positive declaration and prayer at the same time. I am not a pastor. I'm not a preacher. I'm not a theologian, and maybe my theology isn't 100% perfectly right in someone else's eyes, but this is the way God's kind of revealed it to me, to how I should pray. So, and I like to stand when I pray, because it says that in the Bible too, but that's a whole nother topic. So here we go. So my spiritual goal is to love God more and to become more like Jesus. Okay, so that's my stated goal. And then my 5 sub goals underneath that. 1, I read the Bible pray, declare affirmations, and journal daily. 2, I tithe and support ministries. 3, I take our family to church every week. 4, I regularly participate in a group with Jessica and in a men's group. 5, I have coffee meeting each week with a friend. So that's my spiritual goal, and then how I kind of like break that down. Okay? So for you, I want you to think about, if this is an important area of your life, put the goal out there and then create some things around it. If you need to hit pause on this and listen again, whatever. And don't take my, goals, internalize these and make your own. Okay, number 2, my relationship goal is to love people more. So I get this one from the Bible too. Basically, our first priority is to love God, and then our second priority is to love His people and take care of other believers. So my 5 sub goals. Number 1, I have dinner with my family at least 5 nights a week. Now, is there a week that I do 4? Is there a week that I do 3? Yes. But my goal is to have dinner with my family at least 5 nights a week. So we want something specific. You've heard of SMART goals before. You want it to be specific, measurable, obtainable, realistic, and time sensitive. So I'm putting all those things, in my opinion, into that statement. Okay. Number 2, I go on a date night with Jessica at least 1 time per week and 1 alone trip per quarter. So that's what I do. Now, have I missed date night per week? Yes. Have I missed a trip alone with her? Yes. But again, these are goals I read out loud, and this is part of what I want to be doing. Number 3, I have one-on-one time with each child each week. So, and I have 5 kids, so that takes about every week there, every day of the week. And number 3, I go on, number 4. I get together with my friends for dinner at least twice a month. So that's like double dating with my wife and another couple or something like that. Okay, that's really important to me. That feeds my soul, and it helps me build relationships with people. And that's kind of part of what I need as a person. Number 5, we volunteer together as a family quarterly. So that's me building into my kids, building into other people, building into my community. That's part of my relationship goal, to love people more. Okay? All right, 3rd one, my income goal is to consistently earn at least blank per month in net income. And I won't tell you the number because some of you are like, oh, that's really low, and some of you are like, that's really high, whatever. So I'm just going to keep that private. But then I have 5 specific areas where I have businesses, and I plug a number into that. So I say, number 1, we receive over blank dollars per month from our sales at our Thai Group real estate business. Number 2, we receive over blank per month from our rental homes. Number 3, we receive over blank per month on our Market Ready report and coaching system. Number 4, we receive over blank per month in our EXP revenue sharing. Number 5, we receive over blank per month in Keller Williams profit share and book sales. So I've got these 5 basically buckets. I've got a goal set up for each one per month and a total per year. And total per month. That's my stated income goal for my businesses. Okay, I don't think that needs a lot of explanation. Number 5, my number 4, my personal financial goal is to be debt free and to be receiving passive income surpassing our expenses every month. So that's my overreaching goal. Will I hit that this year? I don't know. I hope so, but statistically speaking, looking at my current finances, it's going to be very, very hard. But that doesn't stop me from putting that big goal out there. So then I broke that down into 5 specific areas of ways that I can to achieve that goal. Okay, so number 1, we have over blank in our cash savings. Now, the number that I put in my goal that I read out loud is much higher than I actually have today in my bank account. So again, this is another positive declaration here. Number 2, we have no revolving or high interest debt. Number 3, we have no car payments or midterm loans. Number 4, we have paid off all of our mortgages. And we have 5 investment properties as well. So that's a big task, and that has not been done yet. So these are all future/present, speaking. And number 5, we have blank in liquid assets to invest. So those are my numbers that I read out loud every day. I put the real numbers in there, and I can change those whenever I need to make an adjustment. Okay, number 5, the last goal area. Now you can have 50 goal areas if you want, but these are the 5 I highly recommend. My wellness goal is to be healthy and strong till 120. So some people laugh at me when I say that, but I do believe, and I've said this on the podcast before, that I have the opportunity through what I've read in the Bible to live to 120, and I could also be healthy and strong all the way up through that. I don't need to be frail and old at 90 or 80 or 70. I mean, I believe that I'm going to do everything I can to build my life and my wellness up so that I live that long, but I also live healthy and strong the whole time. Now, how am I going to do that? I've got 5 areas of my wellness that I read out loud. Number 1, I take supplements daily to help me become my optimal self. Now, the supplements I take are specific to me, and I could, go through those someday, but I had Trent Holbert here on the podcast a couple episodes ago, and he offers a DNA sequencing and health data service. It's expensive, but basically what I learned from that is super invaluable. Like, I always thought I should take this vitamin, that vitamin, this vitamin. So he went through like 100 different areas of my DNA, told me, okay, you're actually, you tend to be, because of your DNA, you're going to tend to be low on this one, high on this one. You need to supplement this one. You don't need to supplement that one. If you're going to supplement this one, you should combine it with this one. He gave me specific amounts what to take. And then my wife is actually a nutritional therapist, and she has access to all the pharmaceutical grade supplements. So now I know exactly what I need to do to optimize my health via supplements. So I highly recommend that. If you didn't listen to that episode, go back and do that. Okay, number 2, and if you don't have the money to do that today, at least start with something. Take my recommendations for most people, and I'm not a nutritionist or a doctor, is vitamin D with K1 is really important for most all people. Vitamin C, huge. Most people are deficient in that. And then there's a few other ones. There's vitamin, what am I missing here? Vitamin E, and there's a couple other ones. But for me personally, I've got I've got 7 of them that I take every day. And, you could also just take a multivitamin until you figure out exactly what your body needs. All right, number 2 on the wellness goal. So my wellness goal is to be healthy and strong till 120. So number 1 was I take supplements daily to help me become my optimal self. And also the reason why I put that one first, so the first thing I do in the morning is I take a glass of water. I get those supplements out of the pantry, and I take them with water before I drink coffee, before I eat, before I do anything. Okay. Number 2, I eat a healthy diet daily. Now, this is a very personal topic for a lot of people, because some people are into, the Mediterranean diet, some are keto, some are, I see whatever I see and I eat it kind of diet. Some people are, vegan and vegetarian and, Whole Foods and Whole30 and, Daniel fast. There's like a million things to do. I can tell you from being married to a nutritionist, for 24 years, I've been married to her. In the last few, she's been a nutritionist. There is not a one-size-fits-all diet for everyone. And then what I really learned from this DNA test that I did with Trent is that, my specific diet that I was on just needed to be tweaked a little bit. I was doing pretty good. But for me specifically, the Mediterranean-style diet with, not eating a lot of carbs, but I don't have to go under 50 a day, but if I take a lower 100 a day or less, healthy fats, certain kinds of meat, those kind of lots of olive oil, good healthy fats, all that seems to be, for my DNA, what seems to be the most productive for me to stay healthy. So again, if you don't know for sure, then I would start with an elimination diet, or meet with a nutritionist or somebody and start a food journal and start figuring out kind of how your body reacts best to food. But if you're not feeding your body correctly every day, I don't care how much you work out, I don't care how much money you make, your life's going to suck. I mean, it's just going to be miserable. And I've seen this a lot with running around with super successful people. Some of them just did not take care of themselves well, or they tried to overtrain to make up for a bad diet, and those things never work out. Okay, so number 3, I move purposefully every day with intense movement several days per week, including kayaking, biking, skiing, or hiking. So every single day you can be doing push-ups, like just whip out 10, or a pull-up bar, or do a quick walk or a jog, or the experts that I've talked to say even if you go for a 10-minute walk once after dinner and once after lunch, makes a huge difference in your health. And then I've been incorporating like lifting stuff, like maybe popping out 10 push-ups a couple times a day. I have a pull-up bar in my house. I can go down there and pop out 5 or 10 pull-ups. You don't have to be a CrossFitter. You don't have to be a marathoner. You don't have to be a pool junkie, or you're an hour in the pool every day. I mean, this is kind of where I'm at with my body and my lifestyle. With the busy lifestyle I have, multiple businesses, farm, kids, everything else, and I'm doing okay. Now in the future, maybe I'll get a little bit more intense. Maybe, who knows, maybe someday I'll do a bodybuilding competition. I've never done that before, but I'm just saying, like, don't limit yourself on like, well, I'm always going to just be a walker or whatever. Keep your mind open and, listen to your body. If your joints are hurting all the time, try something different than what you've been doing. Because if you're hurting all the time, you're not going to work out, and that totally defeats the purpose. All right, number 4. This is one that a lot of people are not going to like hearing, but I get 8 quality hours of sleep every night. And this one, actually, I do pretty well. My wife and I usually get to bed by 10:30, get up by 6:30, 7 in the morning. If we can sleep in, we sleep in an extra hour here or there, especially on the weekends. So getting 8 hours of quality sleep. I'm one of those freaks that if you came into my bedroom, I hope you don't, but in the middle of the night, you'd see me wearing a sleep mask, like, something you'd see on TV, because all that little light that's in our room and outside the room and coming through the door, and the VCR, all the little, the smoke detector, all those little lights that are in your room are actually terrible for you for sleep. And one of the DNA markers that I have is that I am a light sleeper. So I already know that, and I knew that before I got the DNA test. And both sound and light both can affect your sleep. For me personally, like, I need to have that blocked out. So I wear earplugs to deaden the sound, and I wear an eye mask, a black eye mask at night to keep the light out. And then my wife also, on top of that, she'll actually wear mouth tape as well, which a lot of people, maybe some people don't know what that is, but it basically keeps your mouth closed during the night, so you can't breathe through your mouth, because actually most people are mouth breathers, and when you do that, you don't sleep as well, and it makes you snore and all kinds of other stuff. So she's found that she sleeps better if she wears the mouth tape, which is a little strip of clear plastic, and it has a little tiny hole, like where your mouth opening is, just in case you get in the middle of the night, like start freaking out or something. But it does train you to keep your jaw closed, helps your teeth development, and then helps you breathe better through your nose during the day too. So that's something that you might want to look into. And the last one here is, there's other things you can do to get quality sleep too, like real quick. Some people, drink alcohol real late, right before they go to bed, and then your body's like trying to process that, and you end up going through different stages with your liver and everything else. I'd say try to avoid eating or drinking alcohol really too close to bedtime. And, you should be not on your phone all the way up to the time you turn the lights off. You should be reading a book. You can play a game, do a puzzle, do something that takes your eyes off of a screen for that last hour before bed. And that's definitely going to help you get more quality sleep. And then the last one on my health list here, I use our sauna, vibration plate, and infrared light therapy box several days a week. So some of you may not know what those things are. My wife has an amazing podcast called The Keto Lifestyle. And even if you're not a keto type dieter, she pretty much appeals to a lot of people that are just trying to be healthy. So she has a lot of experts on there and talks a lot about, health and wellness. And these are things that we do that might seem a little weird. We actually have infrared sauna in our home. It's a stand-up, probably like a 2-person size one. We never get in there with 2 people, but it's big enough where you can kind of stretch out a little bit. But it's a big like cedar box with glass window door in it. It has 2 kinds of infrared light, near infrared and far infrared. And my goal here, according to this, is several days a week I'm going to get in there. So I usually get in there for half an hour. I crank the heat up as high as I can. I sit in there and I just sweat. And then you've got 2 types of infrared light on you. And basically, that's a whole nother topic you can Google on why people use infrared light. But it's pretty awesome. And it does help you sweat. Most people don't sweat anymore, or they barely sweat under their armpits, and it's kind of gross. But we are intended to like sweat it out, right? Like we used to, you think a couple thousand years ago, we were out on farms and we were cultivating things, building things, growing things, and making things. And now we just sit in these offices, sit in our, air-conditioned homes and whatever. We just never sweat. And sweating is actually a way that your body detoxes and, all kinds of other good benefits. So this forces you to sweat out toxins and other things. So if you don't have an infrared sauna, my wife on her website, I think she has a link to like a discount you can get on one, but we use a Clearlight sauna. I think ours was like $2,000 maybe. But if that's something you can't afford today, I would say, hey, look at things in your life that you might be able to sell or get rid of. Instead of maybe driving the new Mercedes, you could drive the used one, or go to the Toyota Camry, or do whatever you got to do to afford certain things in your life. Maybe only go to Starbucks twice a week instead of 6 days a week. Whatever it's got to be, like these kind of things are gonna help me fulfill my goal to live healthy and strong to 120. And this is a lot of the celebrities that you'll see on TV, football players. They do a lot of these things I'm talking about. The health and wellness community is always looking for ways to hack, what they call biohack your body, is look for ways to kind of become more efficient, live longer, all that kind of thing. So I'm just telling you from I'm a business guy here, but I'm always trying to pay attention to other professionals and other industries, and this is the kind of stuff they're doing. The vibration plate's another one. If you're familiar with what your body does, the lymph system, they're kind of like, if you think about like up and down, like the shaky weight kind of thing, that's kind of where your lymphs are in your body. And you want to go up and down, and like vibration or jumping jacks or jump rope or trampoline, that movement of your body going up and down actually helps your lymphs. And I'm not a medical expert here, but I'm just trying to help you out. So that kind of helps kind of detox you as well. And then infrared, we also have a separate light therapy box. So it has this red infrared lighting, and you can hold that onto your naked body basically, and it kind of helps stimulate your cells to detox, grow, etc. So again, I'm not an expert on that. I just know it works, and people told me to do it, so I did it. And then basically when you combine all those things together, you're eating right, you're working out right, you're praying, like you've got all these things in these different areas. This should help you achieve your goals better, because if you think about it, all these systems work together. If all I did was read my financial goal to you, if all I did was read my, what's another one? Just the wellness or just the spiritual. Yes, those things are all important in isolation, but they work a lot better when they're all together. So I would challenge you right now, if you haven't done this, stop the podcast, pause the podcast. As soon as this one's over, sit down and write out your goals. And I want you to think about goal setting different than you have before. Do it in different areas. And, why don't you drop me a line and let me know, hey, I set goals this year, and these don't have to be quote-unquote New Year's resolutions. They can just be goals. Like I said, they can change, they can be updated, they can be modified, and have courage to do them. And then, make sure that you're doing something on a daily basis to reinforce those. One thing I've talked about before on this podcast, and I've got these in my book. If you haven't purchased a copy of the book yet, it's on Amazon or it's on DerekTye.com. It's called The Lord's Prayer for Entrepreneurs. But basically, I put in my own personal prayer and my own personal affirmations, and then my goals that I read out loud. So I read those out loud every day. And so I feel like it's important to declare these things to the universe, to declare them to the world that we live in, to, and the God and the angel, our God, the God, He's listening to us, and the angels are kind of on standby waiting for our command. And through, and I pray in the name of Jesus that He's going to help me, basically, facilitate these goals and help me do things. It says the Father will give you the desires of your heart, and obviously you want them to be in line with His will. So making sure that you're praying every day and seeking His will first, and then seeing how those things that you're asking for line up with his in the Bible. So if you're saying, hey, I want to do something that's illegal or sinful or whatever, I don't think God's going to give you the desires of your heart. But if they're in line with what His word is for you and for His people, then sure, I think you got a pretty good shot at it. So just make sure that it's this kind of, I hate to use the word holistic, but it's this whole part of you, body, mind, spirit, financial, everything's kind of working together. So that's the podcast for goal setting for 2021. This is episode 24. If you have an idea for a future podcast or a guest I should be interviewing, please send me a note, derek@derekty.com. If you set your goals and you want to have an accountability partner, send them to me and I'll take a look at your goals and let you know what I think. If there is anything else that we can do for you or pray for you about, just send me a note and we'll be happy to do that. We do have some coaching still happening for entrepreneurs that are in the real estate business. Specifically, we're doing some lead generation programs right now for real estate agents that have been pretty effective and popular. So I've got two main strategies that I can tell you about. If you're a real estate agent out there and you need some help, I can give you a little free consult, and then we can talk about how we can help you in the future. If you have any other questions, you know where to get a hold of me. And I do appreciate you for this year, and I appreciate you listening to this podcast. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Kingdom Business Breakthrough Podcast. For more resources to help you grow as a kingdom entrepreneur, go to kingdombusinessbreakthrough.com. If this podcast has impacted you, be sure to subscribe and share with a friend.
To come, the Savior, Redeemer, the Father, the Son, 'cause the Spirit is on me, a fire within, Creator, sustain, begin.